First things first, if you have not listened to part 1 yet, go back and listen to part 1. This is episode 221. We laid the foundation of what burnout actually is, how it shows up in your body and your life, and why admitting you're in it is the first act of courageous recovery. So today we're going to go all in. We're going to find out the recovery plan. So awareness without a plan is just informed misery. And you did not come this far to stay stuck and just know that you're in burnout and know that you're headed there and not have a way out. So today I'm giving you the Burnout Recovery Plan, not just a generic wellness checklist, not 5 tips that sound great but fall apart by Tuesday, but a real faith-rooted, holistically grounded recovery framework that addresses your mind, body, soul, and your identity, because burnout touches all of them and healing has to reach all of them too. So these are practices, these are the tools, and at the end, I'm going to tell you exactly how to take a courageous next step to organize all of this into a plan that is specific to your life, your stressors, your family, your story. Okay, let's go. If you're done running on empty, surviving shift to shift, and feeling life fatigue, then you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Shan, registered nurse, holistic life coach, and mom of 4 who found her way through burnout and anxiety to peace and purpose with faith-based practices and God's design for whole person wellness. Here, I help nurses like you recover from burnout, regulate your nervous system, reconnect with God, and discover your identity beyond the badge. Are you ready to start caring for you the way you care for everyone else? I am. Go reheat that coffee again, and let's beat burnout together. These practices are your faith-based practices to holistically care for you, and they're in no particular order. And I will be probably expanding on almost all of these on a separate episode to go real deep on how to do them, the research, all of that. But the first practice in your recovery plan is the oldest and most underutilized prescription available to you, and it's completely free. Go outside, get in nature. Yes, it's so easy. But Dr. Jacinta Jimenez, doctor of psychology and author of The Burnout Fix, identifies nature as one of the most powerful and evidence-based tools for burnout recovery. Research consistently shows that time spent in and around nature will lower your cortisol levels, reduce physiological markers of stress, decrease rumination, which is that loop of anxious thoughts your brain gets stuck in, and restores your capacity for focused attention. So one study found that in just 20 minutes in a natural setting, significantly reduced your cortisol. Not a hike, not a weekend camping trip, just 20 minutes outside. So here is what I love about this as a nurse. Your nervous system was designed for a world that is quieter, slower, and more alive than the hospital floor. Fluorescent lighting, oh, it's so bad. And alarms and the smell of antiseptic and the constant demands of a 12-hour shift. That is nervous system assault. That is opposite of what your body was designed for. So nature is the antidote. The sound of wind through the trees, sunlight on your face, the feeling of grass under your feet, or rain on your skin. I used to love doing this on my lunch break. And so if you do not have a lunch break, that is something you need to go and fight for. Fight for your right for your lunch break. But the second thing is take a step outside. Take the 20 minutes, eat your lunch outside, and be in nature. So God built this into creation intentionally. The Psalms are full of it. David going to the hills, the rivers, the open spaces. I lift my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? Psalms 121. That is not just poetry. It is poetry, but it's also a nervous system reset written in Scripture. Scripture is full of it. It is full of telling us what our bodies and minds and our holistic beings need to thrive. So your practice, get outside every day, even 10 minutes before your shift, after your shift, during your lunch break. Purposely park far from the hospital, you're probably in a parking garage, but if you're not, park far so that you can walk. I used to do this in San Francisco, which was amazing. Make it a non-negotiable. Your body needs it. Your brain needs it. And your soul already knows it. Okay, practice number 2. Now stay with me here because this one's going to surprise you. 7 minutes. That is all the research is asking for. 7 minutes of worship. Worship music per day, even just listening to worship music is showing up in the science with results that will make your nurse's jaw drop. Okay, ready? Studies are showing and proving that listening to 7 minutes of worship music, specifically music centered on transcendence, hope, connection to something greater than yourself, as in God, for just 7 minutes a day can reduce inflammation, decrease anxiety and depression, lower cortisol levels, reduce perception of pain, boost immune system, increase neuroplasticity, and in that, literally rewire your brain for joy. Now go to your podcast app and hit the 15-second back button. Listen to that again, because this is not a supplement. This is not a prescription that is hard. This is a prescription that's found in the Bible and that science proves, and that is 7 minutes of worship. 7 minutes. Now, neuroplasticity means that your brain can literally change in doing this. The grooves of fear, cynicism, exhaustion, emotional depletion, that burnout carves into your neural pathways, they are not permanent. They're there and they're very real, but worship begins to carve new ones. So grooves of hope, of peace, of emotional resilience. And here's the thing, we see this all over Scripture. David was a worship warrior long before neuroscience caught up to what he already knew. When Saul was tormenting David, played his harp and torment lifted. When the armies of Israel faced the impossible, Jehoshaphat sent the worshipers out first, and the battle was over. Worship preceded the breakthrough. It always has. So I'm going to do a full deep dive episode on this topic. I already have one back in the archives of this podcast, but I'm going to refresh it and do a new one because it's one of my top played episodes and it deserves all that attention and more. So I'm going to create a new episode all based on worship. But for now, your practice is simple. 7 minutes every day, put on worship music, sing, listen, be in it, surrender the shift, the stress, the diagnosis, the family drama, all of it, and just worship. Your body and your soul will both respond. And when you pair this with one of the next practices, which is my belief cards, then you will be in what I can only describe as healing hyperdrive. Okay, but here's one before that. This one is something neuroscience has confirmed and Scripture has always known as well. Okay, as you can see, Scripture is our bread of life. This is what sustains us. And that keeps coming up as we discover and talk about these tools to help our stress and anxiety and our burnout. It's coming from Scripture, which is just amazing because God is amazing. So the thing that science has proven, and the Scripture told us a long time ago, was that gratitude and anxiety cannot exist in the brain at the same time. They are neurologically incompatible. When your brain is at a state of genuine gratitude, the threat detection system, the amygdala, the part of the brain that drives your fight and flight response, cannot simultaneously activate. You physiologically cannot be fully anxious and fully grateful at the same moment. One crowds out the other. So research shows that a consistent gratitude practice reduces cortisol, it improves your sleep, strengthens relationships, and increases overall psychological resilience. And I love the gratitude journal. Truly, I do. Starting your morning by writing down what you are thankful for is a beautiful practice, and I encourage it. But I want to talk about the gap, because thanking God for your hot coffee, the blooming trees is wonderful at 6 a.m. But what happens at 2 p.m. when your patient load is impossible? Another nurse just took her bad day out on you, and you got a text from your sister in the middle of it, all that just lit the family drama on fire. Okay, so the gratitude journal is not with you in that hallway. So what do? That is where gratitude becomes a practice and not just a habit. In that moment, in the middle of the storm, you train yourself to pause, even for 10 seconds, and make a choice. So here's the tool that I call the gratitude interrupt. When anxiety spikes, and you will feel it in your body first, a tightening in your chest, your jaw clenching, your thoughts beginning to spiral, you pause. You take one breath, and you name 3 things that are true and good and helpful right now. Not big things, right now things. My feet are on solid ground. I know how to do this job. God has not left this hallway. It's not dismissing the hard thing. It's refusing to let the hard thing be the only thing your brain sees. You are training your nervous system in real time to choose a different signal. And the more you practice it, the faster your brain learns to make that turn. So your practice, keep the morning journal and add the gratitude interrupt for the moments when the shift gets hard. It will get faster the more you use it, and you will adapt to that gratitude. It will be the thing that you go to when the anxiety rises. You will automatically start naming things that you are grateful for in the moment of stress, and it will calm your body and your mind. Okay, on to the 4th tool. You are, without question, one of the most compassionate people in any room you walk into. You sit with your patients in their worst moments. You hold space for grief and fear and pain that most people never witness. You extend grace to the difficult family member and patience to the confused patient and kindness to the colleague who is barely holding it together. And then you go home and you speak to yourself in a way you would never speak to any of them. This is not a character flaw. It is a symptom. Burnout erodes self-compassion systemically, replacing it with criticism, perfectionism, and shame. And the research is clear. Self-criticism activates the same threat response in the body as external danger. It's internal, but it stimulates the same thing as external danger. Your own inner voice can keep your nervous system in fight or flight just as effectively as any external stressor. That I know to be so true. So the practice here is journaling, but not just any journaling. These are prompts designed to help you get curious about yourself rather than critical. Try these this week for self-compassion. What am I feeling right now, and where do I feel it in my body? What do I need today that I have not given myself permission to receive? How would I speak to my closest friend if she was feeling exactly what I am feeling right now? And can I speak to myself that way? So self-compassion is not self-indulgence. It actually is the oxygen mask principle applied to your soul. You cannot sustainably pour out what you are not receiving. Learning to love yourself well is what makes loving others deeply possible. And we have talked about before on here about compassion fatigue. So I will point you back to episode 213 on what happens when your compassion tank runs dry. So we have to be aware and alert on how to fill it back up for others, but that starts with filling our own compassion tank back up. Okay, number 5 is my favorite. This one is the foundation of everything. Everything. It is the first thing I work with every client because nothing fully works until this is in place. And here's what I mean. Every label you carry comes with a way of being. The perfectionist has to get everything right or she's a failure. The high achiever cannot slow down because her worth is in her output. The best nurse cannot show weakness because her identity is in her performance. The victim is always at the mercy of what happens around her. Even well-meaning labels, the strong one, the one who holds it all together, they come with a weight. They come with a burden, like literally pressing down on your shoulders. And here's the problem. When your identity is built on a label, even a positive one, your nervous system is always in a low-grade state of threat. Because the labels can be challenged, performance can falter, people can stop seeing you the way you have built your life around being seen. That's exhausting. It will exhaust you very quickly, actually. So that is the stress at the cellular level that your body is feeling. And over time, that is burnout. So Isaiah 43:1 says, "Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine." That is the Lord. You are His. Not I have called you by your diagnosis, not I have called you by your job title, not I have called you by your worst moment or your greatest achievement even. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you know the name that your Creator has called you and defines you as, your being, that human being that He created, will inform your doing. Who you believe you are at your core will determine how you show up in every room, every relationship, every shift. And you cannot find your purpose in what you do until you find your identity in who you are. Your being will inform your doing, which is your purpose. So when you begin to live from your God-given identity rather than your performance-based labels, the skills you've achieved, the degrees that you have, the letters behind your name, something will shift. The pressure will lift. The striving softens. The stress that was fueled by the fear of not being enough begins to lose its power on you because you are already enough, not because of what you produce, but because of whose you are. You are His. Now, this is the work, and it is the most important work you will ever do. So if this is work that you are wanting to sign up for, again, every single coaching client, we go through this first. And I would be honored to do it with you. Okay, here's the one that's paired with the worship, can send your body into hyper healing mode. Okay, your brain believes what it hears most often. Full stop. For years, possible decades, your nervous system has been running on a background track, like a soundtrack of fear, insufficiencies, and lies. I'm not enough. I can't keep up. Something's wrong with me. I will never get ahead of this. And it's literally a soundtrack. And so one thought, one song goes on to the next, goes on to the next. And we have a repeat soundtrack that is personalized to us. And it comes and it's paired with the experiences of our life. And so you may not even consciously hear those thoughts anymore consistently, but they have become the water that you swim in. They've become the way that you live. So belief cards are the tool that begin to shift and change that radio station. Yes. And I actually love the book Soundtracks by Jon Acuff that really explains this in a very practical, relatable way. So go ahead to that resource. But here's how it works. You identify the lies that are driving your stress and burnout, the specific personal ones that show up in your mind, and you replace them with truth, written out on a card, spoken out loud to yourself in the mirror twice a day for 30 days. Now, the research on this is remarkable. Neuroplasticity studies confirm that repeated, intentional, out loud truth physically begins to rewire your neural pathways. Your brain starts to build new grooves of truth rather than fear, of identity rather than shame. Now add 7 minutes of worship to this practice and you are having positive neuroplasticity consistency. What you are doing is attacking the lies from two directions simultaneously, cognitively through the spoken truth and emotionally and spiritually through worship. Your brain is being rewired while your soul is being restored. That is not self-help. That is not a self-help book. That is holistic healing. Okay, your practice in this one is identify 3 lies that are driving your stress right now. What is the lie that's to your core? Identify those and then write the truth that replaces each one. Speak the truth out loud, not in your head, but out loud, in the mirror, looking at yourself in the eyes, morning and night for 30 days. Literally watch the shift begin. Okay, the next one is breath prayer. You've heard me talk about breath prayers throughout this entire podcast. I have many episodes in the Breathe and Be Still series. We just had one on episode 223. But I'm not going to stop talking about it because they are one of the most accessible and powerful in-the-moment tools in your recovery plan. Here's the science. Controlled breathing, specifically a longer exhale than an inhale, directly activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It physiologically shifts your body out of fight or flight into rest and digest in real time in 30 seconds. Paired with prayer, you are addressing the biological and spiritual simultaneously. That's why I love it. And here's what I love most about breath prayer specifically. The more you practice them, the faster your body learns. Your nervous system begins to associate the breath with safety and with God's presence. Remember, it is His name, and with peace, so that over time, even beginning the breath, even one inhale starts to bring your body down from the ledge faster than it did before. You are training your nervous system towards God, telling it, this is where my safety lies. This is my refuge. He is my safe place, and it will respond. So use these in the hallway, in the supply room, washing your hands between patients, in your car, in the parking lot before you walk in or after you walk out. 30 seconds, one breath prayer. It counts, it works, and it builds. Okay, this last one might be the most countercultural thing that I say on this podcast, because we don't do this, we don't practice it anymore as a culture. But resting one full day a week, not a half day, not a morning, but a full day, taking a Sabbath is not something God just suggested. It's actually a command. He modeled it, He commanded it, and He built it into the rhythms of creation itself. 6 days of work, 1 day full of rest. The Sabbath is not a religious ritual. It is a biological and spiritual necessity woven into the fabric of human beings and how they were designed to function. And the research, the secular, peer-reviewed, institutional research confirms it. Studies consistently show that individuals who take one complete day of rest per week demonstrate lower cortisol levels, higher cognitive performance, greater emotional resilience, stronger immune systems, higher overall productivity than those who work the 7 days. You did not lose ground by resting. You actually gained it. And we even see this in the marketplace. Chick-fil-A closes every Sunday. We know this because we always want Chick-fil-A on Sundays. And it's a business decision that defies conventional logic, and it consistently outperforms competitors in per location revenue. Yes, because rest is not a liability, it's actually a strategy. The Sabbath is God saying, I built you to need this. Stop performing long enough to receive it. So for the nurse whose schedules rotate, whose days off are unpredictable, this may look different for you than a traditional Sunday, but the principle still stands. Designate one full day in your week as Sabbath. No productivity, no catching up, no mental load management. Rest. Worship. Be with the people you love. Let your body and soul do what they were designed to do when you finally stop demanding more of them. I actually did a reel on this and actually sent out an email newsletter about it just recently because I had not realized that after full Saturdays that were 24 hours, but literally felt like 48 hours of full dance competitions, long travel, sitting for extended hours, having this emotional, exhausting experience, that I didn't need just a Sunday that had some fun activities, church, small group, things like that, that actually was going to be a full Sabbath soul rest. I thought that was enough, and it wasn't. Come Monday, I was still on empty. I was still depleted because I did not fill myself up in the way that my body physiologically and emotionally and mentally was requiring me to. I needed to take a true Sabbath where I didn't produce. I didn't lead a small group. I didn't cook 2 full-blown meals for my family. I needed true soul rest, and that couldn't come on that Sunday right after the dance. I actually needed to schedule it maybe on Monday. And it took me literally all of dance competition season to realize this. But what is important is that I realized it, and now I can better care for my body next season and pass it on to you, of course. So friend, let me land this plane. You have just been handed 8 evidence-based, faith-rooted practices for holistic burnout recovery. Nature, worship, gratitude, self-compassion, identity, belief cards, breath prayers, and Sabbath. None of these are complicated. All of them are accessible, and every single one of them is more powerful than pushing through and hoping it gets better on its own. Here's what I also know. Information without implementation is just a longer to-do list. And the last thing a burnt out nurse needs is more things on her list with no clear plan for how to actually do them. That is why I want to invite you to take one courageous next step. Book me for a free stress assessment. In an hour together, we will look at your specific stressors, your schedule, your family, your history, the particular ways burnout is showing up in your life, and I will help you build a customized, personalized recovery plan using these tools. Not a generic checklist, but a plan that actually fits your life. Go to bit.ly/stress assessment call. Just spell out stress assessment. The link is also in the show notes. It is free, and it might be the most important hour that you spend this year. And if you're not ready for that yet, that's okay. Start with the STAT protocol. There are 5 tools to reset your nervous system in 5 minutes or less. Also free, go to www.theshanwright.com/stat. Link is also in the show notes. And you have done the hard work of listening thus far. So good for you. Now do not let that be where it stops. Take action, take the courageous next step, and book me for that stress assessment call. I look forward to seeing you there, and may the Lord's face shine upon you and give you peace. Shalom, shalom. I pray that blessed you, and it would bless me big if you would share the show with a friend or write a review. It will only take a few minutes, and it's the best way for people to find the show too. I would love to connect over on Instagram at @theshanwright, or you can email me hello@theshanwright.com. And until next time, may the Lord's face shine upon you and give you peace. Shalom.